Greetings and welcome to episode 135 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for words about games. I'm your host, Amy Alexander, and I'm joined this week by Keith Robinson.
YOLO.
And Russell Line.
Yo.
YOLO? Why not? I guess, yeah, it's technically accurate. How are you two?
Good. Tired, but good.
Keith's wearing purple instead of green.
Yes, indeed. It's a different hoodie. It is, in fact, the Overwatch hoodie.
Moira! Now I just need to get Ross on his main. Who's your Overwatch main?
Soldier 76 mainly. Or you could say there's a few, but Soldier 76 is probably the one I'd go for the first because DPS normally.
So, as soon as you said that, all I could think was, get off my lawn.
It is a voice line. Damn kids, get off my lawn. Cool. Well, I think you can actually just outright buy his jacket, like, because he wears the 76 jacket. So.
That would be fucked up. Like a leather jacket.
And then we'll all just wear our Overwatch jackets and hoodies, represent our Overwatch mains.
To be honest, yeah. I mean, like, if we were going to go for hog, it would be easiest for Russell to cosplay his name.
It would actually be very easy. You've got the right hair, the similar sort of jawline.
Yeah, the sort of like the glasses or like visor.
We'll just put the visor over the top of the glasses.
Goggles for me.
Oh yeah, you use this one, don't you? Yeah.
And we just need to paint a scar on his face.
Yeah, Russell just borrows, like, you know, like the TA sort of winter like survival outfit.
We don't have that shit in stores.
We can do this. We can cosplay as our Overwatch mains. Might be a bit more difficult for Foxes trying to cosplay as Winston, but you know, we'll make it work.
I was thinking of me trying to be like a Scot, like, you know, we Irish woman, but you know.
Grow a beard, you'll be alright.
Two different conversations.
Yeah. I was thinking that. I think it's shame, man.
Shall we talk about some video games?
Yeah.
Some other video games.
Video games have been mashing my head recently because I've been playing a lot of weird indie games. Very strange. The guys who made Dr. Decker have released a new game.
Oh, great!
Called The Shape-Shifting Detective. And I'm looking forward to sitting down and playing that because that's going to break my brain. But anyway, let's talk about some video game news. If anybody wants to know why we're not going to talk about XO18 in this podcast, despite the fact that it happened over the weekend, we're doing a separate video. It'll come out later. Don't worry about it. We've got thoughts, but instead, we're going to start with a much better news story. That was sarcasm. Current and former employees sue Riot Games for gender discrimination. This is from Cecilia D'Anastasio at Kotaku, who writes, last week, one current and one former employee of Riot Games filed a class action lawsuit against the League of Legends publisher, accusing it of endemic gender-based discrimination and fostering a men-first environment. The lawsuit comes 3 months after a Kotaku investigation into the sexist culture at Riot Games. Has it been 3 months since we talked about this?
I was just thinking two things. One of which is that a cat coming up behind Russell? And the second one was, has it really been 3 months?
Ghost. I guess it's been 3 months because we obviously did this when the story broke and we talked about all of the stuff that came out about Riot Games, and I was like, it's been 3 months already. Wow.
It was 3 months when nothing could happen.
I mean, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. Anyway, the lawsuit alleges that, quote, like many of Riot Games' female employees, plaintiffs have been denied equal pay and found their careers stifled because they are women. Moreover, plaintiffs have also seen their working conditions negatively impacted because of the ongoing sexual harassment, misconduct, and bias which predominate the sexually hostile working environment of Riot Games, end quote. Riot violated California's Equal Pay Act and law against gender-based discrimination at the workplace, the complaint argues. The plaintiffs are asking for compensation on unpaid wages, damages, and other penalties with an exact amount to be determined at trial. They also asked the court to certify the suit as class action. Excuse me. The plaintiffs bringing last week's complaint against Riot say they want to stop Riot's alleged practice of paying men more than women who are fulfilling the same job role, promoting men into more superior roles more frequently than women, and promoting women who had similar qualifications as well-compensated men. The lawsuit complaint also says it wants to prevent Riot from, quote, creating, encouraging, and maintaining a work environment that exposes its female employees to discrimination, harassment, and retaliation on the basis of their gender or sex, end quote. Riot, surprisingly, did not immediately respond to Kotaku's request for comment about the lawsuit. So that's surprisingly, that was added by me. Negron, I cut out a couple of paragraphs to try and make this as short as possible. So the first person was, I want to say Jennifer Negron? Might be getting that wrong. But anyway, says in the lawsuit and has told Kotaku that soon after she was hired, a manager quit and she took on her job duties without adequate compensation or a change in job title. Although she asked her superiors about making her title official, she was never interviewed. She was... Stupid iPad. It decided I wanted to edit the document, which I don't, and then it moved me all the way back to the top. Sorry. I've got to find my place again. Although she asked her superiors about making her title official, she was never interviewed for the position, and instead 3 men were hired into the role, one after another. Later, after her third supervisor left, the lawsuit says Negron was offered to perform the role again, still without proper compensation or a job title change. The lawsuit includes details previously unknown to Kotaku as well, like Negron's claim that in just 1 month, she counted that her male colleagues at Riot used the word dick over 500 times. The lawsuit also says Negron's third supervisor had told her that, quote, diversity should not be a focal point of the design of Riot Games' products because gaming culture is the last remaining safe haven for white teen boys. End quote.
What? Okay.
Yeah. It's a weird comeback. I've got to admit.
We'll probably talk about that in a moment. Current Riot employee Melanie McCracken, who is the second plaintiff in the lawsuit, says she's been working at Riot since 2013 and observed discrimination based on her sex/gender. She believes she was denied promotions, punished by male leadership, and refused proper compensation as part of a trend in discrimination against women. Her initial supervisor, the lawsuit says, did not hire females to fill vacancies in senior employment positions. The complaint says he told McCracken that he would feel weird having a male as an assistant. She told the supervisor she wanted a more senior role, which he apparently responded to negatively. When McCracken complained to HR about his response and gender-based discrimination at Riot, the complaint says that HR failed to keep the meeting confidential and leaked the information to her supervisor. McCracken took a new position... McCracken's a great name, by the way. Love it. McCracken...
It does kind of sound like something you'd see on a fake ID, though.
McCracken. It sounds like a cop. I'm not gonna like a hard-ass, badass cop.
Or someone from the High Under.
McCracken took a new position in 2015 as an office manager in the North America region. Her former supervisor, the complaint said, was promoted in a senior position there in 2016. Then, the complaint says, she was apparently given a 5-month countdown to find a new position or be fired. In 2017, McCracken took on yet another position that had her working with Riot Games' top 3 employees, COO Scott Gelb, CEO Nicola Laurent, and President Dylan Deja. 1 year later, McCracken says she received a video of 2 of her colleagues, including Gelb, at a dance club with scantily clad women in Shanghai. Later, after making a veiled joke about it to colleagues, the complaint says McCracken was pulled into a one-on-one with Gelb, in which McCracken was asked to clean up rumours spread about him in his absence, in part because Kotaku's report was close to publication. McCracken implies she was partially blamed for the Shanghai story leaking out into the workplace at some point later. Afterwards, McCracken, who the complaint says was close to getting promoted, was reportedly prevented from attending meetings with senior leadership and that some of her projects were cut off at the knees. When Sayforth Shaw investigated, the complaint says McCracken was simply moved to another building away from her team. So, fun times at Riot Games, right?
Yeah.
Allegedly. But yeah.
Not very good. To me, it sounds like it's not necessarily sexism. It sounds almost more like favoritism, which doesn't help that it's against a woman, you know. But it sounds more like favoritism to me. But it probably is a mixture of both.
I mean, this just plays into the many stories we read out apparently 3 months ago about Riot Games and the culture at Riot Games.
There's something there's just like you count how many times people use the word dick. Now,
Over 500 times in 1 month.
yeah,
So I don't know whether she was
part-
necessarily lost count.
yeah, there's like part of
would.
it is having context in which it's used because dick is used very much as a pejorative. So to say that person's such a dick, that's very much different to say like I'm trying to think of any other way you could use it as a part of an insult towards someone else. It's like I can't see anyone using the word dick.
I mean, you could use it as in talking about your dick.
Yeah.
I mean, just throwing that one out there.
Yeah.
We live in a society where you can go to any workplace, people swear all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, it doesn't mention it in the thing itself, and I haven't read the full thing. But if she asked people to stop using the word dick and then counted, then that would be kind of fair.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that's allegedly binding.
Dick, be fair though, dick does sound like a weird one. You say at work, like unless they're calling.
Does a woman want to hear the word dick 500 times in a month?
Well,
I mean, to be honest, if they're insulting each other like by calling each other,
that's
like,
a lot of dick. I'll admit
Yeah,
that.
There's a lot of dick at Riot Games. Yeah, you're right.
That would indicate that there is not a very healthy culture where people are very like annoyed and like there's not a great cohesion in the company.
I mean, clearly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. After the thing 3 months ago, now this, I can kind of say, the culture at Riot Games.
Because I mean, this isn't just a
15 times a day.
This isn't just a Jesus. This isn't
Something
just
like
this is just an expose piece. This isn't a piece of investigative journalism that Kotaku have done like they did 3 months ago, where they contacted a bunch of people who used to work at Riot and do work at Riot. This is a lawsuit. Like two people have filed an actual lawsuit over this. So I mean, not to put down Kotaku's amazing journalistic work over the past few months, but I mean that's like the next level, right? That's like a step beyond.
Yeah. Kotaku was the smoke. This would be the fire.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And can we just go on for a second to the quote, diversity should not be a focal point of the design of Riot Games products because gaming culture is the last remaining safe haven for white teen boys?
That's some weird thinking right there.
Yeah. We have no idea what the context of this was like when I first thought. It's like, what was he shooting down and using this as an excuse for?
Diversity. I would imagine, allegedly, a more diverse roster of characters in League of Legends. Just as a first thought, as someone who doesn't play it.
Yeah, I was thinking League of Legends got like 100 characters. I was trying to think of something like.
I was thinking.
Sorry, also.
No, I was just thinking on that phrase. It's probably not like last haven for teenage boys. Probably last haven for like middle-aged men, because we all like that. Maybe that statement was true. Maybe I don't know, 20 years ago.
I mean,
but definitely not now. It's a computer gaming system, and it encompasses a lot now.
As far as like a safe haven for white teen boys, like there are many safe havens for white teen boys. And yeah, just like it's a very specific quote, because a focal point of the design of Riot Games' products suggests that it was in response to someone saying, "Hey, maybe we should have a more diverse roster, or something more diverse, something in the game."
More unicorns.
I mean, I always love seeing unicorns in things. But it just
must have toys.
Fuck that guy.
He's a bit of a stupid person from the sound.
I was thinking, I've only ever heard one like call for not like having the diversified like cast, which sounded right, and that was Final Fantasy 15, when they were going on about the fact that all the party members were going to be boys, and it was like, oh, the story we're trying to tell is about a positive.
Male
like,
bond.
Cool.
That was a good way to handle that.
It's like, well, this is the story we're telling.
Yeah,
like, it's a road trip about four best friends.
You're all
dudes.
Characters, so it makes no difference. Like it's not like they're constantly just doing the same thing again.
And I mean, most Final Fantasy games have a very definite, diverse cast of characters. Some of them being small toys. talking animals.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Final Fantasy VII, for example. It's like my first go to. It's
Bionic
like, yeah,
ninja, black guy
you've
with
got Barrett, you've got
arm.
Ares, you've got Tifa, you've got Vincent, who's a vampire. That counts. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, who's like some sort of weird dog
Talking
anthropomorphized thing.
animal.
You've got Kate Sith, who's like a mog on top of a robot being controlled by some dude. Yeah, I mean that works, but I mean, is there any like you? It goes you when you go down this avenue though, you end up at historical accuracy, and then you end up in the realms of absolute stupidity.
If someone tries to pull historical accuracy
Sounds
on a
familiar.
robot like League of Legends,
We've literally talked about Assassin's Creed Odyssey and people saying that there were no gay people in ancient Greece because they were all Christian.
Yes.
That's wrong as well.
Yeah, 300 years before Christianity. Yeah.
And they all bombed each other because they were totally into that.
300 years where there was an island. I mean, you said it yourself in that actual podcast about the island of Lesbos, which is where the term lesbian comes from.
We really needed Patrick for that one.
It was cultural. Well, obviously, I don't know if it was culturally acceptable, but they enjoyed a bit of.
I mean, good on them, right? Like,
It was the
Good
cultural
play,
norm,
right?
cultural norm for men to enjoy male love until about 30.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is an incredibly gay game, and I'm very thankful for that. But I don't know anything about League of Legends, the game. I don't play it. I've played Dota 2 3 times.
All I know about League of Legends at the moment is like Riot is going like every time that one of these stories breaks, Riot seems to be doing this big push on League of Legends, advertising wise. And the current one is a pop video.
Yeah, I've seen. Well, I haven't seen the video. I know it's a thing. I haven't watched it, but yeah, it's probably. I mean, in this case, it's just timing, right? It's like this lawsuit obviously wasn't filed yesterday, or wasn't worked on and filed within like 24 hours or whatever. But no, I mean, Riot Games is having a tough time of it right now, and it sounds like it's being brought on by the management. Which I mean, this is the Marty O'Donnell thing all over again. Where this is going to keep cropping up every now and again, so we're going to be watching this develop. But yeah, the last bastion of.
Yeah, it's a stupid comment. It really is.
Yeah, I saw the reactions to the comment a while back on Twitter. Some of which this is the last bastion of like that it should be torn down. They don't need safe spaces. And I was like,
teenagers in general need safe spaces. White teenage boys specifically don't need safe spaces. Teenagers in general everybody needs a safe space.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah. Anyway, funny you should mention Final Fantasy 15, Keith. It's almost like it was on your mind for one reason or another. So let's talk about the next news story, which is Final Fantasy 15 director resigns and most DLC is cancelled. This comes from Imran Khan over at Game Informer, who writes, during a special announcement stream for Final Fantasy 15, which was presumed to announce new DLC beyond the game's announced 4 new episodes, Square Enix and director Hajime Tabata shocked everyone by cancelling 75% of the DLC and announcing Tabata's resignation from the company. Quote, to everyone watching the program, hello, this is Tabata, the director said in a pre-written text-only message aired on the stream. It's almost going to be 2 whole years since the release of Final Fantasy 15. I honestly believe the reason we are able to get this far is because of all you loyal fans. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Today, I have a personal announcement to make to all of you. I, Hajime Tabata, will be resigning from Luminous Productions and the Square Enix Group as of October 31st, 2018. I was able to gain so much experience with my time at Square Enix. Every time I was able to be a part of means a lot to me. However, Final Fantasy 15 stood out from that group as it was a special project for me, which I went all in. Therefore, I decided to take this opportunity to officially announce my departure from FF15 to all the fans who have supported the title across from the globe. In regards to my next endeavours in the near future, I have a project that I truly wish to solidify as my next challenge after FF15. For that reason, I have decided to leave my current position and start my own business in order to achieve my goal. As production of episode Arden continues and Luminous Productions works on new projects, I felt it was time for me to hand over the torch to the next generation group of talented and trustworthy colleagues and believe that they will create something amazing. From this day on, I will cheer and support Square Enix and Luminous Productions together with all you fans. I would like to thank everyone who continued to support FF15 and those who have supported myself personally. End quote. The stream then announced in fairly rapid succession that all the announced DLC aside from episode Arden in March has ceased, that the PC version production has ended with no further updates planned like mod tools and map editors, and that the released Comrades multiplayer DLC will be released standalone on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It's a fairly shocking announcement from Tabata, who was a year into a new IP that started with the FF15 team and moved to development with the Luminous Production Studio, which was set up earlier this year to help Tabata with the new game and cross-media products for Final Fantasy 15. Tabata was expected to be the new name and face of Final Fantasy at Square Enix, as Hironobu Sakaguchi had been before him, especially considering FF15's massive sales and success. Last night, likely as important to today's announcement, Square Enix announced that Luminous Productions suffered an extraordinary loss, which is a business term for an unusual loss as a result of business transaction of over $33 million. Weird. That's weirdly written. While the company was vague on details, it seemed that a major cancellation was being written off as a total loss. Connected to the Tabata news, it is likely that either Tabata's game was cancelled or the multimedia projects connected to Final Fantasy 15 were dismissed. I mean, that's got to be a blow, right? The guy came in and actually got Final Fantasy 15 out.
Yeah. As a massive success.
Which was miraculous enough. But for it to come out and be massively successful and quite well received, I mean, yeah, you would make him the face of Final Fantasy after that, right? But apparently he's gone, and we don't really know why. Like, we got the reason he gave us, which is he's going to go off and make his own company and make a new game. And maybe that's all it is. Because, I mean, this guy could probably pretty much get funding for anything he wants to do, right? So maybe he's just thought, I want to make this. This is what I want to make next. And he can just go anywhere.
Maybe he's got a bigger dream than that if he started his own company.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
you know what I mean? Like,
he can write his own ticket, essentially. Because...
yeah, well, you can... You know,
Final
say,
Fantasy
this
15.
is the game that we're going to make, you know.
And it could potentially be that he just didn't want to be the face of Final Fantasy. Like, maybe he didn't want to make Final Fantasy 16.
How long has he been with the company for, roughly? Does anyone have an idea?
I would have to look that up. You guys talk while I find out.
Yeah, I mean, did you know that there was still DLC coming out for Final Fantasy?
Much like the game itself, the DLC has been massively delayed. Like in terms of like when it was supposed to come out, because the Comrades DLC was the multiplayer DLC, so it's like the fourth one, and I'm pretty sure it was all technically, I think it was all supposed to come out last year. I think Comrades was supposed to be like the last one, and then I think it was supposed to come out like a year after the game had come out.
I mean, I'd have to look on my Facebook timelines and see when I actually played it, but I remember playing this game a long time ago. I think it was just after we'd done the Game Awards or whatever.
It was 2 years ago in December that it came out.
Yeah. I think I played it like 2 years ago in January or something. But yeah, and I remember seeing stuff come out about, oh yeah, this is the like the first thing, which is like, because one of the characters just wanders off and comes back with a scar, and it's like
a long time to answer your question.
That was DLC.
Oh, maybe he's just tired. Wants to do something different.
Well, now everything's done apart from episode Arden. Was Arden the bad guy in FF15?
Was it the hit?
Arden, was he the bad guy in FF15?
I don't know if it was it the woman in the armor who occasionally turned up?
Nope. Arden Izunia was the guy in the top hat. Tabata was
turned up in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, of course he did. Tabata, his first credited game, according to Wikipedia, at Square Enix was from 2004.
Right.
which was
So,
the Final Fantasy Star mobile game before Crisis, which he was the
ah,
director.
yeah. Maybe he's tired of
Well,
making Final Fantasy games and wanted to do something different.
I mean,
yeah,
he was also the director of the Third Birthday, which was the third Parasite Eve game that came out on PSP. Final Fantasy Type 0, which was the game that got him the job of saving Final Fantasy 15, which he did amazingly well. And he was special thanks on Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, which I suppose he would be if you know the director of a couple of Final Fantasy games. I mean, given that this is a Japanese company, shenanigans could be involved here in terms of his departure. And the only reason I would bring that up is because if he'd have just left to do his own thing, that would have been one thing. But he's left. Square Enix have written off $33 million in an exceptional loss against the company that he used to work for, which was a subsidiary of Square Enix, and they've cancelled 75% of the DLC that was planned.
they might have just decided that enough is enough. The game was like really late. The DLC is really late. They're going to have diminishing returns on said DLC because it's that far after the game's come out and just went, no, line in the sand.
I suppose. It makes you wonder if they're moving on to 16 now. I can't imagine they're going to want to wait another 10 years between Final Fantasy games.
No, probably not.
And Final Fantasy is quite a hard commodity at the moment. It's coming out everywhere on everything, unless you're Final Fantasy 8.
Sorry, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's just he decided he saw an opportunity to make his dream game, and he's taking it. I'll be super interested.
Yeah, it could be like a couple of things, like because it's in line in the sand, no more DLC and stuff. What's good move forward is doing something new. It's like, this is a good place for me just to hop off the boat here and do my own thing.
Yeah, I mean, his company was making a new game, according to the news story as well. So they seem to be continuing on that, unless that's the $33 million write-off. Transmedia for Final Fantasy. As far as I was aware, Final Fantasy 15, there was just Kingsglaive, which already came out. I don't know what other transmedia they were working on, but they must have been working on some stuff, which I guess they're not working on anymore. Yeah, I mean, as much as like Final Fantasy 15 was my 2016 game of the year, it's like I wasn't going to play any of the DLC. I might have gone back in for the multiplayer DLC just to see what that was even like, but I wasn't ever like planning on going back, to be fair. And I imagine there's a few people who are like me who are like, Final Fantasy 15 was amazing. I'm never going to play it again though. The PC port getting completely basically shut down production as well as a bit. I mean, it's out, but they're not going to update it with stuff that they've promised they're going to update it with, and it is a bit weird, this whole situation. Like, even the way they did it, it's like there's going to be a special announcement, Final Fantasy 15 live stream, guys. Like, we're going to have a special announcement for Final Fantasy 15. So everyone's like, oh, cool, what are they going to do with Final Fantasy 15? Like, they're going to add this, they're going to do this, and it's like, no, the directors quit, and you're not getting any DLC, like, apart from the one that's coming out in March.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Like, imagine tuning into that DLC.
Yeah.
That's live stream. It would be like tuning in. You remember when Bethesda did that live stream earlier this year, for Fallout 76? And like it would be like tuning into that and them going through all the stuff, and then them being like, "Yeah, we've cancelled the Elder Scrolls 6." You'd be like, "What the fuck? Like you wanted to do a special live stream for that?"
Yeah.
We've cancelled the Elder Scrolls 6, and Todd Howard's left. Like, okay.
We accidentally lost the license for the Elder Scrolls in a game of roulette with Konami. So now no one's ever going to get it.
So now
Sorry.
Konami owns the Elder Scrolls.
But they can't do any games with it, only pachinko machines.
Yeah, they're going to make endless pachinko machines with it. I mean, that might be a bit further than this, but that being that would be the worst possible scenario ever for any game, really, in history. Okay, let's talk about the next news story. We've got an interesting one here. Bet you never thought we'd talk about this game on the Words About Gamescast. Parents slam subscription messages in kids mode of Just Dance 2019. This is from Vicky Blake over at MCV, who writes, Ubisoft has apologised to parents aggrieved by Just Dance 2019 kids mode, which has been pushing its subscription service on younger players, and promised to rectify the issue as soon as possible. Despite assertions of a safe space for kids to have fun and enjoy dancing, parents like Reddit user DarkHeartsMD are reporting that the kids mode is prompting children to subscribe when selecting certain songs. According to other reports on the Nintendo Switch subreddit, the simplified mode is obscuring which dance selections require an additional charge. Quote, they need to remove those songs from the list until an adult subscribes in the normal mode, DarkHeartsMD said. I just don't see how they could be spamming my son in the child mode to pay them money. There's another quote here from Ubisoft. Ubisoft told Eurogamer in a statement, quote, we realised that the labelling of the content in-game, and more especially the difference between what's included on the cartridge/disc and what's available in the Just Dance Unlimited streaming service in the Just Dance Kids mode, could be confusing for our players. We never intended to create an uncomfortable situation for parents. Just Dance is a game that's meant to be accessible for everyone, and it's really important for us to provide a protective and safe environment for all our players, including families. We are currently working hard on solving this issue as soon as possible.
Good. Promise to fix the issue with how things are labelled in that game.
Yeah.
Accomplished.
I can see where this dark horse person's coming from. If you're like struggling to make ends meet and stuff, and you like just like get something to entertain your kids while you're doing lunch or something, the last thing you want to do after a hard day of work, trying to make dinner for your kid, is for them to come through and ask for your credit card so that you can dance to the song.
Well, you're into the pestering territory there, right? Because if a kid sees a song that they really love,
I want the song,
and then they try to play it, and it's like, you need a subscription, or you need to buy the game, to buy the song, the kid's not going to just ask once, get told no, right? Right?
Yeah.
Kids don't do that.
Three people who do not have children. But
yes, that is accurate.
Interactions. I know what they're like. They're little pests.
Like, it's just the way kids are. Like, because because again, this is kids mod. They're not playing Just Dance 2019, whatever the normal mod is. They're playing a mod specifically designed for kids.
Yeah. Well, they said they're gonna fix it, so that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a shame that it had to be brought up in the first place, but someone voiced their opinion, and
I mean, I'd like to hope it's not. It's an oversight as opposed to like an insidious thing.
Well, it might be a serious thing, but at the same time, that's just companies in general. They probably didn't make that decision. The people who designed the game.
Oh, of course not. Like,
it'll be someone above said, "Oh, this needs to be in this kid's mode."
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, designers are never usually the people who are like pitching this stuff. I can tell exactly what's happened though. It's the same thing. It's the same way Rock Band used to work. You remember we used to go through the playlists, and every now and again a song would be in there, but it would be a DLC song. And it would be like, you want to select that song, you have to pay like Microsoft points, as it was at the time. Yeah. Because he used to play a hell of a lot of Rock Band. But to be fair, I owned a lot of DLC for that game.
Yes, you did.
I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Rock Band was cool.
Rock Band was cool.
Cheese eating surrender monkeys for the win.
CESM, we weren't allowed to use cheese eating surrender monkeys because it was offensive. Which is fair enough.
Well, quite surprised, to be honest.
I mean, I was quite surprised that their sensitivity filter was that robust. If I'm being completely honest.
Like, obviously, someone at Rockstar watched The Simpsons.
Harmonix.
Harmonix,
yes,
right.
It was just as we were just doing a Simpsons joke.
Because we couldn't otherwise decide on a name.
Because we were terrible at deciding on a name for our band.
4 people sitting in a room for half an hour trying to figure out what it is to call the band.
Indeed. I've still got the pictures of our bands somewhere.
Yeah, and it was a very diverse group.
It was a very interesting group. My shout out goes to Ross because we all left the room. Sorry, we're going on a tangent here. I remember we all left the room at one point, and Russ just sat there and played with the correct character creator for I think about half an hour. I'm pretty sure you had a thing on. And
Yeah.
you actually spent ages editing a pattern onto it.
Yeah.
And then we came back and you're just like, oh yeah, I've done this.
Yeah.
Originally, I think his character looked like Slade. The Ed. Oh god, the guy, the guitarist from Queen, and then he just went very, very different.
Yeah, and then he had that whole thing where he was just like, suddenly, every now and again, he would just like go, whoa, man, on the screen.
I had, funny enough, you say that. On regards to lots of editing time for a simple little thing like appearances. I must have spent about an hour and a half putting together my logo for Country Black
Yeah, I
Ops.
remember that. And I didn't notice. He got very angry because I didn't even notice he had any
Spent
logo.
fucking ages making it.
He was like, have you looked at my logo? I was like, no. Why? Yes, loved Rock Band. Great game. My character was a woman, and the light bulb still did not go off above my head. Let's move on. Activision says it's not happy with Destiny's sales. This comes from Jason Schreier over at Kotaku, who writes, sales for Destiny 2 Forsaken have not lived up to Activision's expectations, the publisher said on an earnings call, promising investors a faster content model and new forms of monetization for the game. Yay!
Yeah.
This comes at a time that'll attract new customers. This comes at a time when the Destiny fan base is as happy as it's ever been, which raises serious questions about the future of everyone's favorite loot shooter treadmill franchise. Nice one. With Destiny 2 released in 2017, Activision and developer Bungie tried very hard to appeal to as many new players as possible, streamlining many of the first game's esoteric systems and forcing all new characters to start from scratch. Although Destiny 2 earned a better critical reception than the first game, it wasn't what hardcore players wanted, and in the months after launch, Bungie put a great deal of effort into overhauling the weapon systems, the endgame, and just about every other mechanic, with very productive results. Those improvements culminated with Forsaken, an expansion that came out in September to critical acclaim. It's full of level grinding and a regular stream of rewarding activities, along with cool secrets and killer endgame content, which has made more hardcore Destiny players happier than they've ever been. It didn't sell enough copies to meet Activision's expectations, however. Quote, some of our other franchises, like Destiny, are not performing as well as we'd like, the company said on the earnings call. That news shouldn't be much of a surprise to anyone who's been paying attention recently. Last week, Activision started giving away the PC version of Destiny for free until November 18th, a sign of weak sales for the franchise. Quote, we have not yet seen the full core re-engage in Destiny, said Activision COO Cody Johnson, which has led to the underperformance against expectations to date. Some players are in wait-and-see mode. If you're in, you're deeply engaged. If not, we think now's the time to bring players back. And nothing will bring players back like faster content model and new forms of monetization.
Just thinking that.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? New forms of monetization, guys. We need to get back into Destiny 2.
New skins, new this, new emojis, who knows what.
New revenue streams, guys. Come on, jump on, get on board.
It depends how they do the faster content, because
the content wasn't fast enough. That was the problem. Like, we weren't hardcore Destiny players by any stretch of the imagination, but we would it got to a point where we were just logging in for like a few hours per week, doing the things we needed to do, and then we'd be out for the rest of the week. We'd just be gone for the week, because it was like every week the content updated, but it was just the Nightfall changed, and Xur showed up with some new stuff. And then there was like treasure maps and stuff, and the quests reset. But the problem was it was still the same stuff every week, right? Like, Xur was selling stuff we were getting anyway, and that's why we all dropped off. Like, it sounds like it's better, like at the end game, which has always been Destiny's problem. Like, I've bounced out of both Destiny games very, very rapidly because the end game just didn't have enough there for me.
Well, to be honest, you kind of bounced out of the first one because the game didn't have enough.
I mean, I got to the end of that story in Destiny 1. So I tried to meet the game halfway. Because we played a bit after we finished the story. And then we quickly realised there's nothing here. And Destiny 2, at least there was stuff there, but it just wasn't good stuff. Like, there wasn't enough. Like, you get to run a random Nightfall strike with random modifiers on it every week, play a few Crucible matches, and then go hunting for treasure, which was annoying, to say the least. Do you think Destiny's in trouble though? In
Long term,
general,
probably. If it's not making cash and they don't make any extra cash from this new monetization.
I mean,
Like,
Activision's other franchises are like Overwatch and Call of Duty, and like so. I feel like, especially with the amount of money they've apparently pumped into Destiny, like as a franchise, like those expectations have to be really high. And I wonder how long it would be before Activision just goes, "Nah, fuck this." Like, we're hearing the first rumblings of it not doing well.
Speculation of a Destiny 3?
We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Was it a couple of weeks ago?
We all know it's coming because they released their whole
plan.
model.
Like, apparently there's going to be 5, right? There's 5 games.
Yeah.
Like, thanks to
you
the
hope there's
lawsuit,
gonna
we
be
knew
5
the
games.
entire plan for Destiny. But
Well, that was how we knew. Yeah, the lawsuit. Yeah, I know they changed the timing on some of it.
well, they had to.
Well,
yeah.
they may have changed more than that by the sounds of it.
Well, it was supposed to be a new
If
Destiny
things don't-
game every other year. So in theory, we should be getting a new Destiny. We should be getting Destiny 3 at the end of next year, which probably isn't happening. It's probably gonna be 2020. But
It could be, but like if it doesn't, if things don't pick up
one of the biggest
money-wise-
problems with them releasing Destiny 2 with the hardcore fans was the fact that they even did it because it basically wiped out everyone's progress from the original Destiny,
Yeah.
and everybody had to jump in brand new onto the new game. So, but I don't know whether they've completely changed their strategy. It doesn't sound like it because there was the leaks that we covered a couple of weeks ago about Destiny 3. So we'll see. Apparently, they're going to make it even more hardcore.
Yeah.
Which is definitely not going to attract new customers.
Yeah. Or diminishing returns.
I mean, any series goes through diminishing returns, especially considering Destiny 1 launched at such a peak in terms of how many people were interested pre-launch, how many people bought it, and then the reception to it. And then I don't know if they'll ever recapture that peak. I don't know how they could, really. But anyway, let's move on. PUBG hits PS4 in December. This comes from Wesleyan Poole over at Eurogamer, who writes, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds comes out on PlayStation 4 in December, 1 year after it hit Xbox One as a timed exclusive. Video game analyst Daniel Ahmad took to Reset Era to say the Battle Royale game was coming to Sony's console next month, and Eurogamer understands this to be true. PUBG's arrival on PS4 doesn't come as a huge surprise after it was leaked by the Korean ratings board, and, more recently, Sony's servers spat out PUBG images, as spotted by a user on PSN profiles. Let's talk about that before we talk about the second half of this news, which isn't in the headline. This isn't confirmed, despite what the headline actually says. There's a video game analyst who says it's happening, and Eurogamer has been told that this is happening, but it's not officially confirmed, so... It would make sense if Xbox had a 1 year timed exclusivity on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It would make more sense based on what happened at XO18.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's gone free to play, isn't it? On Xbox, probably. Or not free to play, but
In Game Pass.
on Game Pass.
I mean, we saw the 1 year exclusivity thing with Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Rise of the Tomb Raider. I mean, it always made sense that, but because Microsoft didn't buy PUBG Corp in that, like at E3 or in XO18, we always knew that PUBG, because they would have definitely explored that option.
Yeah.
We knew that there's more money for PUBG. There's more money on the table to simply launch on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So they were always going to do that. So we always knew that PUBG was eventually going to come to PlayStation. So this doesn't surprise me either. Like, even if it wasn't like the fourth thing to point to it happening, but December launch sounds about right. I can't remember when PUBG came. It was very late in December when PUBG came out last year.
Yeah.
Hopefully it launches in a better state than it did on Xbox.
Yeah.
Because it was fucked when it came out on Xbox. And I'm pretty sure PS4 doesn't have an early access program.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've heard about PUBG lately, it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like losing the race to Fortnite.
I mean, yeah, of course. But Fortnite has the advantage of being free to play.
Yeah.
Like, there's other advantages, there's other reasons, but the biggest one is Fortnite is free.
And it works.
Yeah, and it works a lot better. I mean, I haven't played PUBG in months, But the last time I played it,
Yeah.
it was still buggy as shit.
Whatever happened with that lawsuit?
Which one?
PUBG suing Fortnite.
Oh, they were suing
Probably
Epic
still
Games.
ongoing.
It's still ongoing, yeah. Haven't heard anything for a while. They're suing Epic Games over the fact that they apparently invented the Battle Royale genre, which they didn't. Plenty of Battle Royale games came before PUBG. PUBG was just the first one.
And there was a
alone.
movie before that.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on because this is weird. In more bizarre PUBG news, the game has an unexpected Suicide Squad crossover, which means you can play wearing the Joker or Harley Quinn skins. That was the end of the Eurogamer article. I went looking and have pulled an update about the cost of these skins from GameSpot. Strap in, because I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn's bundle costs 2,500 G-Coin, while Joker's is 2,000. That's sexist right there. You can also buy the individual pieces of each bundle as well. Harley's outfit is 2,000, her hair is 500, her makeup is 500, and her bat is 300. Joker's outfit is 1,500, and his hair and makeup are both 500. As opposed to BP, which is earned through playing PUBG, G-Coin is bought with real cash. You can buy 500 G-Coin for $5, 1,100 G-Coin for $10, or 2,300 G-Coin for $20. So, that makes no sense. Fun bucks are stupid. But, what I'm getting from this is, it'll cost you $20 to play as the Joker, or $25 to play as Harley Quinn. That's an absurd amount of money.
For skins. Yeah.
I always knew before I even looked at it that Harley Quinn was going to be more expensive because many people who are DC fans will shout and scream about this. Harley Quinn is a more popular character.
Right now, Harley Quinn is 100% a more popular character than the Joker.
But she has an extra item, which is the bat.
Well, the bat's just a skin. It's not. She won't like start every match with a bat.
No,
it's just if you pick up a bat in the game, it'll be skinned.
It's extra, isn't it? Although that doesn't cost-wise doesn't equal it out in any way.
No, I was about to say what's absolutely fucking batshit crazy insane about this is you can buy the Joker's outfit for 1,500. You buy the Joker's everything for 2,000. You buy the Joker's outfit for 1,500, and you buy his hair and makeup for 500, which equals 2,000. So if you buy one, you can buy the other later, and it doesn't cost you any extra. But with Harley, if you buy the whole thing for 2,500, or you buy her outfit for $2,000, her hair for 500, which is 2,500, which is how much the skin costs overall. Her makeup is another 500, and the bat is 300. So although overall, to buy everything all at once, it costs 2,500. So if you wanted to buy one bit and then later on you wanted to buy the rest, you would have to spend 3,300.
Yeah.
Which is just, how did you make math? I'm better at maths than that, and I'm terrible at maths.
Hey, buying everything together should be cheaper because you know.
Well, then make Joker stuff more expensive, you clowns.
I don't know. Maybe they don't see the sort of.
Why is her hair and makeup 500 each, and the Joker's is 500 for both? Why? What? Why? What?
Maybe some people just want the hair.
I mean, I can tell what you're doing, PUBG Corp. It's very fucking obvious. More people are going to buy Harley Quinn shit, so you're charging more money for it.
But that's life.
That's bullshit. But unfortunately, in terms of PUBG, it's not even high up on the list of bullshit.
I know, but that's just life in this world. If you know people want it, put a bigger price tag on it.
Which is why we never roll over on that stuff on Worth to Buy Games. Come at me, PUBG fanboys. I'm ready.
I'm just thinking that you actually play PUBG and we really want to dress up as Harley Quinn.
Fuck it, Blackout's better anyway. I mean, I might as well go all in. I've gone halfway. I might as well just go all in and really piss them off. Speaking of pissed off fanboys, Blizzard has no plans for Warcraft 4 right now. Warcraft 3 Reforged is the priority. This is Gabe Gerwin over at IGN, who writes, fans of Warcraft's real-time strategy roots might have assumed that the announcement of Warcraft 3 Reforged at BlizzCon 2018 indicated that a full-fledged fourth game was on the way, but it doesn't appear that this is the case, at least for now. Speaking to GameSpot, Blizzard senior producer Pete Stillwell said that his team's priority first and foremost is to make Warcraft 3 Reforged as good as it possibly can be. Stillwell stopped short of saying Blizzard would never develop a fourth Warcraft game, but said the studio doesn't have any plans for it at the moment. Okay, Peter Stillwell, if you're going to stop short, I'll just say it. You're never going to make a Warcraft 4. Ever. Ever.
Why not?
Sorry, Keith, but they're not. Until World of Warcraft dies, sometime in the year 3000, then they might consider it.
I was going to say depends on sales of the Warcraft Reforged.
Yeah, because you know what they'll do after that? They'll just make Warcraft 2 Reforged.
Yeah, Amy is saying that there will not be a Warcraft for every time I mention Warcraft 3 is one of my favorite games because they made it into an MMO and then have decided not to do anything with it. I mean, they could do some sort of prequel with it or something which is off on the side.
Totally.
Or just
they could.
Yeah, but they're not gonna.
They won't, but they could.
Yeah.
It sucks. But I just don't think they would ever do that because World of Warcraft, right?
Mm.
If they were going to do it, they would have done it when World of Warcraft was at its peak in popularity, because it's definitely not at its peak in popularity now. And if World of Warcraft goes belly up and they don't make a World of Warcraft 2, then we might see them go, oh well, maybe we'll make Warcraft 4. But right now, they're just not going to do it. They just won't. Which sucks, because I would much rather play Warcraft 4 than dive into World of Warcraft again. It's a shame. Or maybe I'm just being this adamant about it because I was this adamant about Command & Conquer and Soul Calibur, and look what happened.
Dad, I know my prediction next year is going to be doo-doo. No.
Your prediction next year will be Grand Theft Auto 6 again.
Probably. Well, I've ticked off 2 on my list already, right?
It's what's next?
Gotta have the next impossible one, you know?
Yeah.
The next impossible.
I'm totally happy to bet against Russell getting Warcraft 4 and lose because I would be getting Warcraft 4.
You either win a bet or you get Warcraft 4.
Get to play the
game. Yeah. Fair. It's a shame. I'm sorry, Keith. I don't like to be a Debbie Downer on Warcraft 4. But
I can see where you're coming from though with that.
Yeah.
Point of view.
I mean, I've been hoping for this remaster for a while, so.
Yeah, it's been rumored for a while beforehand.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least we've got that. They're adding stuff to it from World of Warcraft apparently. So not gameplay. I mean, just I guess lore or narrative stuff or something.
I know.
But
I watched the Blizzard announcement. I haven't seen anything since then.
No, it was kind of watching Blizzard stuff at the moment. It's kind of oh, Warcraft 3, cool. Oh, Ash, cool. And then all you hear is this screeching, screaming noise, and that's just the Diablo fans. And then it's everything.
Yeah, I don't follow that Diablo stuff on Twitter. I think that's fine on that one.
Everything is being drowned out by Diablo right now.
Yeah. Diablo and StarCraft, those are games I've never played.
Diablo's fun. StarCraft is a strategy game. I guess it's fun. I had it, but I played it briefly and never really got into it. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to Warframe fans ask developers to avoid crunch. This comes from Nathan Grayson over at Kotaku, who writes, "This year, game players have learned many uncomfortable truths about video game crunch. If what happened on the Warframe subreddit in the run-up to the increasingly MMO-ish co-op shooter's latest expansion is any indication, we're starting to see players push developers to take better care of themselves, even if that means slower game releases. Warframe fans have been eagerly awaiting the Fortuna expansion since it was announced in July. On the eve of its release, a Reddit user, Space Sheepy, awesome name, posted a Warframe-themed anti-crunch graphic resembling a workplace safety poster as a gentle reminder that the devs should prioritize their health over cranking out new content, even during the mad dash to get Fortuna out. Tenno against crunch, read the poster, referencing the game's player-controlled Tenno faction. Crunch, quote, crunch is bad for well-being. Stress can lead to many health concerns, including heart disease, depression, and premature death. End quote. It also included a URL for the UK-based International Stress Management Association. The post got over 5,000 upvotes, making it one of the subreddit's top posts for the past month. Additional messages of support quickly poured in. The fan who started the thread told Kotaku that reports about extended overtime and other labour issues had inspired them to speak up. Quote, I guess what prompted me to do it is the recent stories of crunch from Red Dead Redemption 2, Telltale Games, Rockstar, etc. Space Sheepy, who calls Digital Extremes their favourite developer, wrote in a DM. I'm not sure if Digital Extremes has crunched before. One of the devs did mention that they had crunched, but I don't think it's in the same ways other companies do, and it may be more optional. That being said, I do worry about them, whether they are working late for extended periods and so on. Even if it's out of love and passion of what you're doing, you can still lose track and forget to self-care. I just wanted to let them know, whether it's optional or not, that I and many others don't want them to be in pain for a video game ever. That, my friends, is the best take on the internet. Someone finally has come out and just said, basically,
Go kill yourself over
it's video games.
Reddit for good.
Reddit can be a tool for good. I keep telling people this, but nobody ever believes me. But Reddit can be a tool for good. It's just video games. I'm with Space Sheepy like 100%. Don't fucking kill yourself over making a video game. It's not worth it. And I felt like I had to include that as a cleansing of the soul, specifically for me and Keith, who have been going in hard on all of these Rockstar stories and the Telltale stories and all the stuff that's being shared about crunch on Twitter right now. It's like a cleansing of the soul, almost. Someone came out, a fan came out and told a developer, just be cool, be healthy, don't crunch, we can wait, because that's the correct response. Because we can wait. If Red Dead Redemption 2 hadn't come out, I said this a few weeks ago, if Red Dead Redemption 2 hadn't come out for like an extra few months, cool, I'm fine with that. But especially if it doesn't lead to stories of people having strokes and shit.
I mean, the only people who would have been worried if it came out in February would be all the people who would have already announced their games in February.
Yeah, if it was like, we're announcing a new release date on February 22nd, 2019, you can just see like everybody just gone. Like, I mean, at least PlayStation and Microsoft have completely abandoned that release date now. You were right. We'll get into that in the XO18 conference video, though, because Keith is going to have a monumental Keith was right moment. Be sure to tune in for that. But yeah, it's cool. I'm happy. I'm happy this happened. I'm happy people didn't dive on it and talk shit. I'm happy that it got upvoted. I'm happy it was the most popular post on the Reddit for like the month. It's just nice to see people being nice instead of people being complete arseholes to each other. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It actually makes me want to play Warframe more. Like, on the back of it. Like, because I've lapsed on Warframe, and stuff like this makes me feel comfortable about going back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. So this is a weird one, because I didn't pull this from a news article. Russell's already laughing. I pulled this from a YouTube video that was shared on a Facebook page that I'm a member of. Star Citizen is delaying female avatars because they're shorter than male avatars. So this comes from YouTube, and there's a transcription of a moment in a 15-minute video on the official Star Citizen YouTube page before anybody said... Because this is what happened, right? Someone shared essentially a meme of a very funny way of describing this situation. And I was like, the fuck's this? And then there was a description in the post of what was happening. And I was like, no, there's no way this is possible. There's no way what you're describing in here is possible. It's some YouTube video by somebody who's seen a post or a comment or a quote and got the wrong end of the stick and analysed the wrong end of everything. And then they were like, here's the source. Click. Oh my god, this is on the Star Citizen page. Shit. So I watched it. Here's the quote. So the question was, but why is it so hard for me to get my female characters? And this was in reference to the fact that female characters were supposed to come in a specific update that was during Q4 between October and December. And they're being delayed because they're not in there anymore. And here's the quote from somebody who works on Star Citizen. Don't know who it was, sorry. It's not just the fact that thousands of animations need to be done. And we have the same issues that you do in the real world, like in your car seat, when you need to adjust your seat if you have different arm lengths, different legs. And the female skeleton is 5'8", and the male skeleton is 6 foot. So we have to have solutions for the female getting into cockpits and not having their hands hyperextended. And he did this on the video. It was kind of funny. So there's some tech that comes in there. There's some stuff in the character customizer. Clothes are another issue. So there's a huge amount of touches and a massive amount of departments at work. And people have been working on it for quite a while. That's not something that we've just started. It's in game dev, and we're not in a position to bring it into the 3.3 stream. 3.3 being the next patch for Star Citizen's Alpha. There's so much more to it, but that's basically the long and short of it.
The gist of it, yeah.
Super difficult. I mean, animate female characters, right? Ubisoft, right?
It's
You're never going to let Ubisoft live that Assassin's Creed stuff down, way.
I am now. I can now. I've got a new person who said exactly the same thing. More or less. I mean, we talked about this at length in the group chat when I found out about it because it blew my mind and I needed to talk about it. So the female skeleton is 5'8" and the male skeleton is 6 foot. Like, I mean, my first thought is, why don't you just make the female skeleton 6 foot? Work on this in the game dev stream, and then when it's ready, implement a slider into the character customizer to just make the character however tall you want. It seems a bit weird that they've arbitrarily just gone, yeah, all women are going to be 5'8".
No, they can't put a slider in for the same reason why they haven't put the female characters into 3.3. It's because they'd have to make new animations for all the different sizes of.
Yeah, 100%.
It would just be like that. The game's long enough as it is at the moment. If I can make one for every single height adjustment. No,
I mean, if they'd done this in the first place, and
I
just
agree
made
with you.
both at the same time,
they should just make them 6 foot.
They should just make them 6 foot. Right? Am I
Just make them
wrong?
6 foot. Or what they should do is make the character 5'8", but keep the arms and the leg length the same, and just shorten the body. That might just skew with the body a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it would look a bit weird.
It's only
but
by
you still
2
have-
inches, so it can't be by that much, right?
My idea was that when they sit in the cockpit, because they're sitting down and no one's really going to be staring at them, there's no way to judge height, so they could just have them, like the female model, be 6 foot in the cockpit, which would alleviate the issue.
The problem with that is there are multiplayer cockpits where you can walk in and you'll see the character sitting down.
And then you get into the hilarious YouTube bug compilation territory where the arms are just like fucking hyperextended. Yeah. As soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, if another player can see them in the cockpit, it's going to be fucked. Like, they won't even be sitting in the chair properly because the animation.
Or the only other thing I can think of,
Mass Effect style, they'll just be like continuously folding in on themselves.
it's just make them proportionately smaller, but like do the same animation, but
hilarious
you
YouTube.
You can do the same animation and just have the controls like move out a little bit, like.
They're trying to avoid the Mass Effect.
But it just sounds like, I don't know. It's just stupid. They should just make the character 6 foot.
Make them 6 foot. Give them boobs, some hips. Maybe do some mocap with someone for like a female actress.
They've
for
done
a couple
plenty
of days,
of mocap.
and just work on the end. Like, put the character avatar in the game and just say, look, you can make a female character. Here they are. Don't they look amazing? At the moment, they're not going to be animated properly while working on it. Boom. Everybody's got their avatar.
Yeah.
Instead, they're arbitrarily deciding to make them 2 inches shorter because reasons. And they
I should really message the guys and like, or like, Facebook or like, put a message on there saying, get your act together. If I can make them 6 foot.
Just make them 6 foot. Send this
Get
clip.
them the same
Send
animation.
this clip to them.
Get them in the game.
Just put them in the game and worry about it afterwards. Like,
It just surprised me it's taken them this long to think of it.
I mean, it's been a long time.
No, they've just been working on a shit ton of assets and ships, and you should see how they make their ships. It's ridiculous.
Don't forget, Keith, video games is the last safe haven for white teen boys. Different company. I'm just going to point that out there right now.
Yeah, that was a different company. Now, I was thinking a lot of white teenage boys would be wanting to make female avatars, but
Yeah. I mean, that's what they do.
That this never like sort of came up when they did the first male avatars, because I remember when they did it was ages ago, because also showed me walking around the hangar and stuff when it first came out. It just surprised me how long it's been since then to hear.
I just don't like. That's the other thing I don't get. It's like, why didn't they just make both simultaneously? Like, because they must have known there are some women who play video games, and there probably are some women who play Star Citizen, and they might want to be women in the game.
No, absolutely. Like they've got that on the list, obviously. Right?
Yeah, well, it's obviously been pushed, but I don't know to what. Uh-oh. That's not a good sign. Everybody's frozen. My internet is probably gone. Ba, 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 ba.
Kind of stood around the cold. Whoa!
There we go.
Yay. Yeah, that looks
Right.
weird when it snapped back, didn't it?
My internet just froze momentarily.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we were talking about. I know what
I
we're
was
talking
saying yes, they should just make them 6 foot and be done with it.
That works. I'll just put
yeah.
in another technical issues thing and just skip to that bit.
But the way Russell said it there, I just suddenly remembered Garibaldi from Babylon 5. And I think like Coat Arms of the film where he just gets like dropped into a project and he just goes, okay, so we couldn't actually get the gravity to go all the way at 1G, so just like to claim victory at like 75% because I was like the idea of a walk on the ship and I'm like 8 pounds later. And that's just this conversation about something like, yeah, well, just to get out on budget, it's like, yeah, just say okay to that.
But yeah, you're right, Russ. You're right.
They should.
Just make them 6 foot. It's not a complicated thing. I'm assuming they already have the skeletons because male characters are a thing. It's a very strange one.
We have to redo the skins.
Yeah, I mean clothes will still be an issue, but
yeah, especially with the way they want to go with assets for that. Yeah,
I don't want to know. I really don't. Let's move on because I feel like the less I know about Star Citizen, the better it is for my mental health. Strategy guide publisher Prima Games is shutting down. This is from Nick Santangelo from IGN, who writes, longtime strategy guide maker Prima Games is shutting down next year, according to new reports. Variety reports that a spokesperson for publisher DK said, quote, I can confirm that the decision has been made to no longer commission new Prima Games strategy guides, and the US-based imprint will be discontinued in spring 2019. We were in conversations with the Prima team's game. I've pronounced it about 16 different ways, and since I started writing this, I apologize. With the Prima Games team, and cannot comment on this further at this point, end quote. Prima's 3 US offices reportedly will be shut down one at a time, starting with its Roseville, California location by the middle of this month, according to EGM. The Indianapolis location will close its doors in March 2019, while it's unknown when the New York office will be closed. As of publication time, customers can still pre-order guides for the upcoming games. A Prima representative told GamesIndustry.biz that the company will not commission any new strategy guides and will discontinue all imprinting in spring 2019. It's unknown how many employees will be put out of work when each office shuts down. Quote, we are in conversations with the Prima Games team and cannot comment any further at this point, a Prima representative told GamesIndustry.biz. Prima Games strategy guides are like a fucking institution. Like, I've never bought one, but they've been around for a long ass time.
I've only ever bought 3, and they were for World of Warcraft, World of Warcraft Burning Crusade, World of Warcraft Lawless. So I've seen them a lot when I used to go into physical game stores, but now that people have the internet, people use YouTube. There's less of a need for the physical medium.
I guess Ross read the next story. Like 100%. What's funny is I've actually used the Prima Games website quite a bit when I'm catching up with games, because like most of the time, because of when I'm playing a game, it's usually right at launch, so I never have an opportunity to really use a walkthrough anyway. But like I remember last year I played Divinity Original Sin 2 in December. Like it was one of those, I'm going to catch up on this for Game of the Year talks because it's supposedly amazing, but I'm going to use this spoiler-free walkthrough basically just to say, go here, now do this, now do that, so I can get through the game and see
without
the
having to
relevant
hunt
stuff.
everything down.
Yeah, but I need to do it in a timely fashion. I've done it for a few games, but funnily enough, I was using the Prima Games walkthrough because they published some of their walkthroughs online. Not the fully pages with all the art and all the inside information, literally just the walkthroughs. Because if there's one thing I fucking hate, it's trying to find a walkthrough on YouTube.
Yeah.
For all that, I was surprised that Prima Games was still a big thing doing the stuff because YouTube exists. There's nothing worse than being like, I want a walkthrough for this game, search for this game walkthrough on YouTube, and then you click it up and it's like, oh, it's good. This one has this specific level that I'm looking for a walkthrough for. I just need to see this one bit so I can see how to do it. And then you click the video up and it's like, hey guys, what's going on? And it's like, for fucking Jesus, man. It's a walkthrough. Yeah. Just shut up. I just want to see the thing.
Yeah, it's rare that I use walkthroughs, but I have used a couple. Like recently, one was for a puzzle in Tomb Raider. No, not a puzzle, but something I thought I was missing a bit of equipment, but I wasn't. I was just being dumb. And the second one was for Pathfinder, the game I backed on Kickstarter, which really could use a walkthrough on that. But some of the puzzles is just like.
But I mean,
the 5 statues. If I click this one moves. If I click that one, that one.
I've done it recently. I was looking at unlocking character skins for Blackout, Call of Duty, and yeah, Gary, like Amy just said, it is a case of, hi guys, this is and I'm bringing you this blah, blah, blah. And just like,
so today we're going to be doing this, and now
you have to
shout out to this, and this video is sponsored by Dollar Shave Club.
You have no idea where that information is going to be in the video.
Yeah. But first, I want to talk to you about our sponsor today, Audible.
I've not had too many like that, but I've seen videos like that.
It's stupid, and like you go through and it's like a minefield because some people just do full let's plays and label them as walkthroughs and don't edit them. So you're watching a walkthrough of a game and it's like they're just as lost as you are. Yeah. It's like, could you not at least edit the part out where you didn't know what you were doing and just show me the part that I need to see?
Yeah.
That's I don't know who it was, but I did a walkthrough on one of the Pathfinder puzzles and there's these bricks which go click or FUD. And the person was a little lost as well. But I like them because they just did like a 2-minute video of that specific puzzle. And B, even though they're a little lost at it, I could get where they were coming from. And they didn't shout it there going, hey, this is whatever. It's like, just explained what they were doing and where it was. It's like,
hey, it's your boy, Death Reaper 420XXX. Sorry, I didn't have an opportunity to get that in the podcast.
Yeah. Gone are the days when perfect walkthroughs on video.
I know, right? Like the thing is, I can do a text walkthrough just as easily, but you don't get those very much anymore, which is annoying. And unfortunately,
go here and you just go in the store, grab this, come run back out. It's almost like a speed run because it's done in such a perfected way.
I used to have a book with cheats for PlayStation. Like my parents bought it me, and I never fucking used the damn thing. But it was like it had a walkthrough for Resident Evil, and it was like most games took up like a page or less because it was just this cheat. Resident Evil and Final Fantasy VII were like half the book because it wasn't cheat. It was a full walkthrough of all the games.
I got the Saturn magazine, and I'm pretty sure it was 4 months of just walkthroughs for Resident Evil because they couldn't actually do it in one magazine.
Ooh, that game was way too dense for one play.
There's I've got my GameCube still, which I eventually need to sell, and for that I've got the old Zelda collection, so it has all the Zelda games on it. So I've also got Wind Waker as well, and because it was like the collection box with Wind Waker and all the rest of it. And I've got a walkthrough which has all of the all the secrets, all the games, where everything is, all heart pieces, and all the special gear you could get from each of the games, and I've still got the walkthrough. But it's just like, if you want to play the game, but you don't want to have to hunt this stuff down, like say, for example, you want to go in the game, like we'll say Wind Waker, for example, right?
Mhm.
In that game, I think it's one of the first games where you had to go and collect bugs, and like dragonflies or insects. And for that game, yeah, just knowing where the best places are. Sometimes there wasn't a predefined spot; you just had to be in a certain area, and that was one of the things where it told you where you needed to be at what time. It was perfect.
Those are my kind of walkthroughs.
Yeah,
100%. Let's move on to the last news story.
Confidence Amy had there when she came in from conversations he hadn't heard and just went, "That's the sort of walkthroughs I like."
Written walkthroughs.
Mm.
I knew what he was talking about. Let's move on to the last news story. A scum bug was causing uncontrollable penis growth. Hell yeah. Andy Shaw from PC and Gamer, who writes, last week's Wild Hunter update to the online survival game Scum added bow and arrow skills, new animals to use them on, new musical instruments, and user-definable dongs. Amusingly, they weren't purely cosmetic. Embiggening your wang requires the use of attribute points that could otherwise be put towards more useful characteristics, or you could shrink it up in exchange for a boost to your brain or biceps. That's fucking awesome. As sometimes happens with such complex interlocking systems, the rollout didn't go perfectly smoothly. Because of that, GamePie has released a hotfix today aimed at addressing some of the most pressing issues, including...
That was a pun.
Yes, it was. Bug fix, where penis would get bigger with each login. Fixed a bug where urinating would lock hands and penis if interrupted. Fixed a bug where it was possible to increase penis size without it affecting other attributes. That one's not as funny.
No, that one's not as funny.
I'm just like wondering if sort of game Scum is that like urinating is included in it.
You have to...
Game where you have to eat and drink.
But it goes a step further than most survival games. So you have to eat and drink, but you also have to pee and shit. Like, it goes that one step further in terms of, like, if you don't, you'll get ill and stuff will happen, or you'll just piss yourself, or like, all sorts of things.
But you have, like, there's, like, different heart rate monitors and stuff, isn't there? Like,
it's so in-depth. It's crazy.
It looks really complicated.
But at the first bug, like... Can you imagine? Would you just be like logging in? You log into Scum and you're just like, is
that bigger than last time?
The last time? Oh well, I'll play some. Okay, play some, cool. Log out. And then the next day it's like, oh, I've got some time. I'll play Scum. Then you log in. You're like,
whoa.
I'm sure that's getting bigger.
Oh, a second. Just log off, log in, log off, log in, log off, log in.
It's gone from trouser tightened to third leg.
And then, of course, I love the you just lock your hands on your penis if you were pissing and it got interrupted. She'd just be running around like locked in position. A light-hearted penis story to end the podcast on. Let's quickly do games out this week. There are a lot of them. You can ignore that link. I don't know why that's still there.
Yeah, okay, so games out this week. We'll start off with Hitman 2 for PC, PS4 and Xbox One, coming out on November the 13th. Also on November 13th is The Room 3 for PC, no idea what that is. Spyro Reignited Trilogy for PS4 and Xbox One. And I'm going to take the next one.
On November 14th, you've got Fallout 76 on PC, PS4 and Xbox One. I'm looking forward to having front row seats to that train wreck. On November 15th, we have Warhammer 40,000 Mechanicus on PC. And we also have Underworld Ascendant on PC and Bad Dream Fever on PC and the Settlers History Collection on PC. Russell, bring us home.
Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee on Switch, November 16th, and Civilization 6 on Switch, November 16th also.
It's almost like you can tell Red Dead's been out a couple of weeks. All the game developers are just poking their heads out of their Fallout challenge, being like, is it gone? Is it safe?
Fallout challenge, that's a nice one, literally.
Oh man, the bugs. Fallout 76, it's going to be...
bug-riddled.
It's probably going to be unreal. They just had to do a fix because they found in the beta the character's speed in the game was tied directly to the frame rate. So the higher your frame rate, the faster you moved in game.
Sweet. That would do me all right.
Because what they seem to have done is, from looking at like people who were talking about it, is they've literally used the same engine for Fallout 4 and made Fallout 76. But they're two very different games. Like Fallout 4 was an offline RPG. Fallout 76 is an online PvP thing. Like the other things I read is mods. You can mod that. It's the same modding thing. So people are already making mods for it. Except again, it's an online RPG, so you can just make all these mods and just completely imbalance the game. PvP doesn't start. If I shot, let's say we're all playing it.
Yeah.
And I shoot Keith.
Yeah.
PvP doesn't start until Keith shoots me back.
I know, yeah.
So if I shoot Keith, I've activated PvP, right? Then Keith goes into his inventory, sticks his power armor on, gets his minigun out, takes a bunch of fucking stims or whatever to make himself really more powerful, and just goes, okay then! And I'm like,
And I don't shoot back, and you keep hitting me with the spud gun, which does minimal damage.
Reduced damage, yeah.
Yeah,
I can still kill him.
I do like the idea that you get flagged for a bounty that you have to pay for yourself.
What you would want to do is you'd want to carry, like, you remember the old pellet gun?
Yes, the BB gun that you get at the start.
Yeah, the BB gun, right? So you want that, right? You shoot the person you want to attack with that. It's going to do no damage at all, but it's going to class as being attacked. And then when they turn around, then you whip out your minigun. Or your
they're like,
bazooka or
I got you now.
Because you don't want to waste your ammunition doing minimum damage. You want to do
transform,
damage, right? Yeah, absolutely. Just like you just said with the minigun and the power armor.
They're like,
although I think in the game, the power armor you can't take it with you unless you're in it. You have to kind of store it.
Yeah, like the whole thing is like, we don't want griefing.
That's something it's in your inventory.
Yeah, we don't want griefing in Fallout 76. Trolls find a way.
They do, yeah.
Trolls are like life, they find a way.
There'll be a little band that goes around and just wrecks people's like habitats, like little villages or whatever.
I mean, you could also spin it around and saying, we don't want players to be able to grief each other badly. That's why we put in the ability for people to launch nuclear weapons.
There was that, isn't it? Because there's like an actual nuclear bunker you can launch.
You can fire a nuke at the wasteland.
4 people can launch. What does it like? 4 people can launch a nuclear weapon, but there's a time delay for it landing, and everyone in the blast zone gets long enough to get out of the area.
It's basically how you create an end game area. So like with like high level shit.
It's really radioactive, but people wandering around in power armor, rad suits, and stuff can get like really rare stuff by going into a place that's just been nuked.
But it'll also spawn more bigger like enemies.
Yeah, like
in Fallout 4.
Death Claws, yeah.
Death Claws are the main one. Fuck those guys. Anyway, that is going to do it for episode 135 of the Words About Gamescast. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody out there. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody in here, in the little white boxes. It's been a pleasure. We got to talk about penises, which is always
2 inches of height difference.
And 2 inches
we
of
talk
height
about dicks and penises.
Say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I can't top that.